Hi everybody, it's Joy Packard. It is Sunday. We just got back from church and got back from Denver yesterday or late last night. Had a wonderful 2-day conference in Denver. It was the Rocky Mountain Resellers Conference. I met with so many amazing sellers and just people in general, people that have great hearts and, you know, they do well in their business and everything, but it's also awesome to connect and to just get to know people. I love it. It's so awesome. And before I take my Sunday nap, I just wanted to share a thought with you. We had an awesome day at church and a lot of good thoughts that were shared. But one of the thoughts that was, that's been on my mind today, whenever we actually went to the conference in Denver, someone had mentioned this in one of their meetups or their networking and everything. And one of the things that they talked about was how we spend our time. And basically, when we spend our time a specific way and we choose to spend it that way, then we take away from something else, if that makes sense. For example, if we choose to work instead of being with our family, then, our time is spent there. So whatever we are choosing to do with our time, we also have to think about it because it takes us away from something else. I guess you can look at it like opportunity cost, maybe, so it's like, if I do this, then I'm not doing that. And so I thought about that this weekend a lot because, a lot of times we make the choices that we make in our daily activities and we say, okay, one of the examples that they talked about that was interesting to me is, that they were working all the time. And so they were working so much that it took their time away from even be able to color in a coloring book with one of their kids. So you have to ask yourself, are the activities that I'm doing on a daily basis bringing me closer to the way that I want to be or further? And I know that, that there is a balance. There's a daily balance of the things that we need to be doing in our life. We need to fill ourselves with, spirituality, with doing good things, and then we have to work and we have to do the things that we have to do, right? So when we choose to do a specific activity, it takes us away from another. And so today I was, just evaluating that in my own life, like, yes, I do love to do this, but whenever I'm doing this, it takes me away from that. And so I'm not really sure the best way to define that or to describe it. I just know that, it's just been on my mind today and it makes me really think about, the things that I want to be doing. For example, I really love being on the blue beaches of the world. I love being able to teach people about personal development, right? And so when I make that something that I want to be doing and learning about, then it's taking me away from this, right? And so if I'm choosing to do this particular Amazon part of my business, then it takes me away from that. And so it's just an interesting thought that we have to make the decisions that are the opportunities and the activities that brings us to who we want to be and what we want to be doing, if that makes any sense at all. It's such a deep thought if you think about it, because sometimes we do things and we think it's the right thing, like, okay, I'm going to get into this business, right? And then I'm going to do all of these different things. And then what happens is we end up doing only that it takes us away from the things that are most important, such as our family or taking the time for ourselves, our me time, taking the time to do the things that we personally want to do, right? And so what happens is we get involved in this business and then we're sitting behind a computer or we're doing all of these different things to where what happens is we're doing all of that, but then we look at our day and before you know it, it's 8 o'clock at night and we didn't even go out into the sun and get some vitamin D, or we didn't go and spend some time with our loved ones, or go spend time with our grandkids and go push them on a swing or color with them or whatever, And so it's so important whenever we're trying to decide on the activities that we want to be doing to better who we are, to better our business, our relationships, our health, that we find a perfect balance of doing that, right? Because it's almost like, okay, like you're trying to get all your water in for the day, right? We're trying to get in all our 8 glasses of water. And then maybe come 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you realize that you've only drank about 8 ounces. And then all of a sudden, instead of drinking it throughout the day, you just gulp down your whole gallon all at one time. So what does that do? It's almost like there's no balance there. How did that, how was that in your body? And so it is with our activities, like we can be excited about our business, right? Like I just got home from an amazing 2-day conference in Denver. Came home with many ideas that I need to implement, along with, just different action steps that I need to do. And so, hey Kyle, how you doing? Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It's like, like I'm thinking like, do you know that song by, I think it's Billy Ray Cyrus, and it's called Busy Man. It's one of my favorite songs. And I love how some of the words in that song talks about, you've never seen a tombstone with these words. I wish I would have spent more time at work. If you don't know that song, go look it up and go listen to the words. And it talks a lot about, being such a busy man and basically living his life to where he's missing the most important things. So, I want you to think about that example of the jar. We have that jar where if you put in all of your stones, you're trying to fill it with rocks, and if you put all of your small rocks first and then the big rocks later, the big rocks can't fit. So as we're thinking about our business or how we want to spend time, do those most important things first. Put in your big rocks. Make sure you get in a time with your family. Make sure you get time for yourself to work on your health. Is it important to work on our health? Absolutely. Is it hard to do all day long? Yes. So we have to find that perfect balance of trying to fit it all in, trying to spend time with our spouse or our best friends or, whoever, time to spend time with others who are in our life, our family, our children, our business, maybe our dreams. I just started to take up the violin again, and I'm trying to learn it, a specific song by my 50th birthday in October. And yes, would it be fun to play the violin all day long? Yes, but we have to find the perfect balance, which is really, really difficult, right? And so, hey Angela, how you doing? And the example of the rocks, so a lot of times we have our jar, which represents ourself, right? And we start putting in all of these little things that we think are important. Maybe we put in, I don't know what they are in your life. It could be for me, another business opportunity, maybe this and that and whatever. And then you say, all right, I did all that. And now I want to go sit out in the sun and take some time for myself. And then I try and put in that big rock. But because I put in all these things that I thought were important and it filled up my jar, I don't have any more room to put in the big stuff. So it's so important to think about the things that are most important in our life and what we definitely want to fit in our day. All of us only have 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We control or we decide what we put in our day. We can sometimes do, I guess, what's overkill, right? To where we spend too much time. If you think about a pie wheel and you think about, each of those pie wheels being a category or some kind of activity in our life, and we spend 90% of that, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in our business or playing the violin or learning about this and only exercising all day long, which exercise is great for us, right? But to do it, 8 hours in a day is just like not very feasible and not very, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess not very reasonable, maybe is what I'm looking for. So we have to portion out our time, portion out our activities, and to get the most important things in first. And, every night, the night before I go to sleep, and I learned this from Chalene Johnson, and she talks about writing down whatever your threshold is. Like she picks specifically says, pick 3. And, pick 3 things that you want to accomplish tomorrow. And it could be in 3 different areas of your life. It could be tomorrow, I want to make sure I spend time with my kids or one-on-one with one of my kids. I do that. I have 8 kids. I try and spend one-on-one with each of them, whether if they're far away, I take time on the phone. Maybe I'll chat with them, or if they're local, take them to lunch or, spend time. And I try and do that with my grandkids. It's really hard to fit it all in. But even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that was one of my 3 things Then another one might be, I want to make sure that I sign up for my Amazon account tomorrow, if that's what, I'm trying to do in my business. So maybe it's my business, my health, and my relationships. Pick 3 things the night before that no matter what, tomorrow I'm going to try and put those big rocks in first. And then that way, if the rest of the day goes by and I'm not able to fit in those other rocks, at least I put in those 3 big important rocks. And so when you do that, it's so awesome because at the end of the day, well, I know that I wasn't able to get to this particular activity that I wanted to, but at least I did those 3 big things that I said that I was going to try and do. And don't feel bad if, you wrote down the 3 and you only got 1 done, because you know what? Life happens. There's things in our life that happen to where, maybe something happened to where that took your attention and then you weren't able to get done. And don't feel like, oh, I'm a failure because I didn't get all 3 things done. If you even thought about them and still didn't get them done because maybe, I don't know, maybe you had to go rescue your sister who needed some babysitting because she had to take one of her other kids to the hospital or whatever. We have different things in our life that may be an emergency, or somebody needs us, or we spend time with our mom or spend time with our family or whatever, and just leave room for, I guess, distractions, as far good distractions. Maybe it's a good friend rolled into town and they're only there for an hour, and then you spent that hour, instead of playing the violin, you went and did lunch with them, or you had a conversation with them, or whatever. So there's just, that's just life. We have everyday life to where we have things in our life that happen, and that's just how it goes, and that's okay. So it's not going to always be perfect on our daily things. And so I think that, if we think of those things, and from the very beginning, my main thought was, as we feel and choose to spend our time this way, it takes our time away from something else. So make sure that time that you're choosing is really what you want to be doing. And sometimes I have to reevaluate my own life, over and over and over again. I'm not sure what that video is, Kyle, but thank you. I'll check that when I'm done. But, right? So if I'm choosing to do all of these different things, then it makes me so busy to where I'm not able to spend time with my kids. I've got to reevaluate that and then choose different activities and reevaluate it. And it's okay if, you had this plan and these are the things that you wanted to do, and then all of a sudden, because that is not serving you, meaning that that's not what it is that you want to be doing, it's okay to make adjustments, and don't be scared about that. If you have this plan, this amazing plan, and then you thought, you know what, that's taking up way more time than I thought it would. I'm going to have to just take one of those off so that I can focus on these other 2. That's okay. And I think you have to make sure that that you're okay with that, right? So anyway, like I say, my thought for you for this Sunday is, as you are deciding on your daily activities, are these activities still allowing me to live this way that I want to live? Is it allowing me to spend family time? Is it allowing me to spend time in my health, have my me time? Is it allowing me to travel? Is it allowing me, these are the things for me. Yours might be different. What's important for me? To spend time with my kids, my husband, my grandkids, my business, being able to go to the blue beaches of the world, to travel, to learn about health, to learn about, all this other energy medicine stuff that I'm learning about. So these are the things that are important to me on my left side. And if these new activities that I'm choosing are making it such that these are not working, then something needs to change. And here's the thing. Thank you, Angela. It's very nice of you to say. Here's the thing too, is you have to remember that, and I was talking to a good friend. Her name is Abby. I had a podcast interview with, actually, it's actually loading and it will be available probably today or tomorrow. But we were actually talking about that, and the fact that sometimes we feel like we're in the situation to where we suddenly get into this where we feel we have to please the world or please whoever and meet up, or feel like we have to meet up to these standards to, I don't know, whatever. We're just in this world where we feel like we have to meet up to this or else we're a failure. And so we have to remember that it's okay, that if it's not serving who you are and your life and your situation, you may need to change it. I'll give you a short example and then I'm going to let you go because I got to take my Sunday nap. I'm so tired. I'm starting the Simples on Seller membership site. Why? Because I enjoy being able to help people. And I'll see how it goes for 5 or 6 months. But guess what? If it's taking up too much of my time, or, I'm not able to tackle it and it takes away too much of my family time, I'll have to nix it. And I'll have to just, and I have to do what's best for me, my family, and the choices that I make. Right now, it's still okay, but I'm just giving that as an example that sometimes, we come up with these goals and all of these different things that we want to do. Man, I'm so itchy today. But when we are going through that journey, if we find out that it is like not making us happy and not serving us to who we want to become, it's okay to change that. My husband's calling in. All right, happy Sunday. I just wanted to share that thought with you, and I hope that you guys are having an awesome day. Those of you who don't realize, my podcast is called Joy Reveals. It's on the iTunes app and also Stitcher if you're on your Android phone. And we have 14 episodes up. We're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 interviews this week. And so anyway, you guys take care. And I hope you download the podcast, subscribe, review. It helps the show go up. And next week, I am launching the Simples on Seller membership site in beta. So you guys take care and have an amazing Sunday. I'm going to go take my Sunday nap. I'm super tired. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.